Hi, I'm Anthony ZACHARZEWSKI from the Democratic Society in Belgium. A colleague of mine was at a meeting the other day, and someone said to him, this open government stuff is great, it's fantastic, but what's participation got to do with poverty and people in this part of the world who are suffering from poverty? And my vision of the future of participation is that nobody ever asks that question again. Because for me it's obvious that the purpose of participation is to broaden the number of voices that government hears from, and to change the way in which government policies are made to include the people who are affected by them and to get their perspectives on the way in which their lives need to be changed. And for me, that's about poverty, and it's about environment, it's about transport, it's about construction, and all of those different policy perspectives need to be part of our story of what participation and what open government is. But it also needs a cultural change. It needs a change in behaviour, as other people have said today. And I go back to Lillian Ripple's work from the 1950s about what changes behaviour. And there are three factors that change behaviour: motivation, opportunity, and capacity. And I would like to see our future of participation being built through motivation, opportunity, and capacity in government and in the public. So what does motivation look like for government? Motivation, if you're a civil servant, means you think, I'm going to get a better policy result. I'm going to get more support for my policy as a politician. I'm going to get better ideas by going out to the people. That's the motivation that we need to see. So we need to prove to sceptical civil servants and politicians that that's what can happen. What does motivation for citizens look like? Motivation for citizens looks like I can trust that when I speak, I can participate and I'll be heard. Because if I'm not going to be heard, I'm not going to bother. And then the participation will be of low quality, and we won't be able to convince the governments that it should be done. What does capacity look like? Capacity for government looks like having structures and skills that enable people and enable government policies to be made with the people, not just to the people. And that's a really important change that takes time, and it takes training, and it takes a reorientation of the way that civil service works, including things like laws that the Minister was talking about that put in place the formal structures that require civil servants to act in that way. What does capacity look like for citizens? It looks like access to open information, but more importantly, the skills to use that information. So transparency is pointless if it isn't used. Information is pointlessly open if it isn't used. So creating those accessible, skilled citizens who can use accessible information is essential. And finally, what does the opportunity look like? The opportunity is the shared collective spaces in which participation can happen. And we know it's not just a digital platform, but digital is important. We know it's not just a single tool or a single method used over and over again, whether it's crowdsourcing or consultation or deliberation. We know it's a variety of different tools all used in the right way. But most importantly for me, the opportunity has to be something that we build and we grow in a networked way. So I want to try and create, through some of the conversations that we're having here today, a story about the future that shows how all of the different initiatives in this room can work together to create a much better understanding of each other. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that in the second session.